Can you guess which of our parishes that is? You'll find out more as we turn the pages of another Jamaica magazine. You'll also be immersed in our diverse landscape, our rich heritage, and the authentic experiences of this, our island home. I'm Theodore Henry, your host for the next half hour, and I can't wait to show you all we have inside our pages today.
Respect for myself and others. Self-discipline means there's a right way to conflict resolution. Kindness and compassion say being nice is normal. Honesty and integrity are badges of honor. Yes, we choose values for life.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, November 9, 2022. The national budget for the current 2022-23 fiscal year has been increased by $60 billion, pushing the overall expenditure to $972 billion. The details are contained in the first supplementary estimates of expenditure tabled by Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, in Parliament yesterday. It accounts for additional spending to cushion the impact of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, which sent food and fuel prices surging early in the year, affecting inflation and the wider macroeconomy in Jamaica and globally. In response, a little over $7 billion was allocated for a suite of social interventions to ease inflationary impact on the population. There are also increased allocations to the Ministries of National Security, Economic Growth and Job Creation, Health and Wellness and Education, as well as to the Jamaica Urban Transit Company to help with its fuel cost and other operating expenses. The largest increase is $21.1 billion set aside for public sector employees under the Compensation Review Program.
Also contributing to this increase, Madam Speaker, is a $2.2 billion amount requested by the Ministry of Health and Wellness to facilitate the payment of salary-related allowances.
Dr. Clark says the new allocations will be financed primarily through an expected $65.5 billion increase in revenue flows.
At the end of September 2022, Madam Speaker, total revenues were $40.4 billion above budget, including $35 billion from tax revenue, and this performance has been factored into the current forecast, which now anticipates total revenue flows of $815.3 billion for the current fiscal year 2022-23, Madam Speaker, which is up on the original forecast.
About 400 households across 11 communities in St. Elizabeth will have access to piped water for the first time after the $130 million new building water supply system was commissioned into service. The system forms part of government's Essex Valley Water Supply Scheme, a $630 million project to reduce water-related challenges in the parish. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, says it signals government's commitment to upgrading and delivering quality service to rural communities.
We are ensuring that Jamaicans who live in rural Jamaica are benefiting from the investment of the National Water Commission.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has received a brand new 2022 Toyota Hilux pickup valued at $8.1 million to support activities under the A Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean Climate Resilience Project. The vehicle, which is courtesy of the European Union Global Climate Change Alliance Plus, was officially handed over at the Ministry's Hope Gardens Playfield in St. Andrew on Tuesday, November 8. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the ministry will ensure that it is used to go through the difficult terrains that need to be traversed to implement the project.
We are very proud of being partners in this project that is going to help us to really advance climate proofing, for instance, of the Castleton Botanical Gardens in St. Mary, as well as also introducing integrated and sustainable farming systems, climate resilient and adaptable crops, species, and agroforestry to farmers in targeted communities.
A Jamaican path from hills to ocean is partially funded by the European Union Global Climate Change Alliance Plus in the amount of $859.51 million, with the Jamaican government contribution of $192.95 million. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade will be introducing an online portal for the registration of Jamaican nationals who are traveling overseas for short-term stays. The portal is expected to be in operation soon. It will establish a database on Jamaicans' overseas travel and assist in strengthening the country's capacity for an effective response in emergency situations. Portfolio Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith made the announcement during her contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the Senate recently. She says the portal is critical in the face of an increasing number of global emergency situations, such as worsening natural disasters, pandemics, episodes of civil unrest, acts of terrorism, and human trafficking.
An online portal which provides one single database that allows persons' data to also be removed when they set the date of their return is a way in which we can ensure that if there is this type of event once more, we will be able to, and even smaller events, more controlled events, and are controlled and are contacted by family, we will be in a better state to be able to reach out to our people.
Senator Johnson-Smith says work on the portal is at an advanced stage. And finally, as government contemplates the future of Vale Royal, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says there are no plans to permanently close or sell the property. Mr. Holness was responding to questions posed by the Member of Parliament for St. Andrew South East, Julian Robinson, in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He says consideration is being given for provision in the upcoming budget to increase the allocation for preservation of the national monument.
As a first priority, we will be ensuring that all repairs required to ensure that the integrity and decor of the building is maintained. That is our first priority. An assessment has been done, and a proposal for its restoration will guide this work. And we are now reviewing costings, as I've said, at this time.
The Prime Minister says there has been some deterioration in the facade and exterior ceiling work, which has limited the use of the building due to safety concerns. He explains that allocations to Vale Royal were delayed due to priority focus on the management of the COVID-19 pandemic, but says government is now reviewing options presented by the Jamaica National Heritage Trust for its immediate and future use. Among the uses currently being contemplated are the conversion of the property to a library and museum of all prime ministers, the establishment of a protocol house to host state officials and international guests, and use of the property as a venue for events held by the state. The Prime Minister says consultations will be held with residents in the community before a final decision is made. Vale Royal has been recognized as a national monument since 1958 under the Jamaica National Trust Commission Act. The act has since been repealed and replaced by the Jamaica National Heritage Trust Act of 1985. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Have an illegal gun or know someone who does? The gun amnesty program begins November 5 to 19. Surrender the guns to the nearest police station, the FLA, or a lawyer. Your identity will be protected.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
This tropical part of the island was birthed from the valiant historic efforts of many, and the landmarks left behind are sound archaeological proof. It's home to several heritage sites, a botanical garden, and a refreshing coastline. Come, let's check out the stories behind this parish.
It's one of the oldest parishes in the island that might have been originally named after Thomas Hickman Lord Windsor, the then governor of Jamaica in 1662. Seated in a right angle, bordered by the spellbinding St. Andrew on the west, the picturesque Portland on the north, and then gently washed by the waves of the Caribbean Sea.
Bienvenido a St. Thomas. Welcome to St. Thomas. Full place. St. Thomas. We're there.
St. Thomas today now. Welcome to St. Thomas.
However you put it, we're there, St. Thomas. Join us on this travelogue. We'll be moving throughout the creases and corners of this beauty, turning the pages of our local history book, in which you will see the old Borden Wharf, Judgment Cliff, Roselle Waterfall, and other places. The cliff high above the Landaway community in St. Thomas at first glimpse appears to be just like any other overlooking the parish. But take a second look and you'll notice that a section of it is completely gone. Known as Judgment Cliff, it got its name from a story of how an entire community was wiped out during the 1692 earthquake. It's a story that passed through generations in the community and one that residents readily recount to passerbys like myself.
Judgment Cliff, I was informed that they used to have a plantation up there run by a serious, wicked slave master. Imposed draconian measures on the farmers, and one of the reasons why they resided on the cliff, that in case the slave wanted to run away, they would have difficulty in doing so. The place collapsed. I guess during the same time, Port Royal earthquake was taking place. That was 1692.
It was a plantation to people who lived there too. Everybody get covered out. Then say, when it happens at night, they say a man, a rooster, and a bull save. The man gone out, gone wild. The rooster fly off of the roost. The bull broke down the pen, gone out, gone wild, same like the man.
We're still set on traveling this allure, blessed indeed by the events of history. Right now, we're headed to a gem up the road on the corner. Tumbling over the rocks onto the roadside is an area known for its pristine waterfalls and fishes. The Roselle Waterfall is used for bathing and even for washing by residents or those passing by. It was once a busy area for commerce and entertainment prior to Hurricane Dean in 2007. But despite that, residents still enjoy the untouched water and how it seemingly removes all pains and ills. And from that water that falls, our next stop is a spot where the residents fish.
This fishing area named Lethal Beach, right? When the weather good, we go to sea and fish. When it's bad, we have to stay on the land. Well, we're doing this about some 50 years now, and we do it for a living. So I maintain the family. We have to prepare the net. We buy the net ready make, and we put on the fittings towards it. We put on the lead and the cork and so on. Like what you see it here, you know, we put it in the boat and go out and fish. We catch all type of fish. We catch snapper, we catch parrot, drum, barracuda, doctor fish, all type of different fishes. Sometimes tourists pass and them take pictures and all them kind of things. And them like when they're knitting in it, sometimes they spend all the day with it. This is my daily living, and that's something that I enjoy all my life. I don't do no else work but fishing now.
Back in the days, over Borden Wharf, they usually do export a lot of things over there. We even use our small canoe and go over there to fishing through the day. It's just across from the other side of the fishing village.
St. Thomas is a major growing area for food such as banana, coffee, coconut, sugarcane, and even for fishing. It houses one of the island's natural deep water harbors that was once used as a port for exporting these same food items. No, we couldn't come to St. Thomas and not mention anything about our national hero Paul Bogle or the popular Morant Bay Rebellion.
Yeah, the Morant Bay Rebellion took place at the Morant Bay Courthouse with Paul Bogle and his followers marching from Stonygut to Morant Bay.
Poverty and inequality in the society forced Paul Bogle to lead the protest march to this courthouse on October 11, 1865. In a violent confrontation with official forces, nearly 500 people were killed and more were flogged and punished before order was finally restored. On October 24, 1865, Paul Bogle was arrested and executed at this very same spot of land, the Morant Bay Courthouse. And just like that, we've ended our tour in this natural and material beauty, unfolding the stories behind just a few places. If you haven't been here already, then what are you waiting for?
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Culture transports you into other people's world. It takes you beyond time, into the beginning and end of seasons that impact the entire human race as it is shared. Today we are taking you into finding out how you can begin to get across the globe for that engaging experience.
It's among the world's most powerful books. It grants you access to over 50 international territories without a visa. I'm sure by now you realize I'm speaking of a Jamaican passport. Here's how you can acquire this trusted identification and travel document. The Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, is the government entity responsible for issuing this identification and citizenship document. First, you must obtain and complete a passport application form. The form is available at PICA offices on their website or any police headquarters island-wide. First-time adult applicants are required to appear in person with their completed application form and 2 identical photographs, one of which must be certified by the person who verified the application form. The photos must be taken within the last 6 months for it to be valid. Additional documents are a birth, adoption, or Jamaican citizenship certificate, as well as a valid government-issued photo identification, such as a driver's license or a voter's ID, and a proof of name change if the name has been altered. For renewals, adult applicants may apply online or in person by submitting a simplified renewal form along with the expired passport. A Dropbox service is also available at PICA's headquarters at 25 Constant Spring Road in Kingston. Applications submitted using the Dropbox service will take 7 working days to process. Applicants living overseas must visit pica.gov.jm to start the renewal process. They will need their expired passport, passport-sized photograph for upload, Visa or MasterCard, debit or credit card to make payment, and an email address to get updates on the application. Applicants who are under 18 years old must appear in person and present a certificate of citizenship, 2 identical photographs with one being certified, the parent or legal guardian's government-issued identification, and sections C and E of the application completed by the parent or guardian. The same procedure applies for passport renewals for minors. Passport processing fees will vary depending on the service chosen or the location where the application was submitted. A regular adult passport costs $6,500 Jamaican dollars locally, $80 if in America, or £50 in the United Kingdom. PICA's Kingston location processes applications in 7 working days. Montego Bay, Portmore and Maypen does so in 14 days, while overseas applications take 20 working days. Expedited services are also available for local applications. Once the passport is ready, applicants must bring the official receipt with a valid ID and pick up at the location they submitted their application. The person collecting on an applicant's behalf must have a written consent form, a copy of the applicant's ID and the official receipt. Courier services are available at PICA's Kingston location. It's the gateway to travel and so much more. Getting a passport is your legal right as a Jamaican citizen.
Let's raise your Jamaican cultural IQ with the following stops in and around Kingston and St. Andrew. Our first stop, Trenchtown Culture Yard. This lively museum in Kingston is a collection of relics and artifacts of a vibrant community created in the 1940s. The neighborhood has a telling legacy of its contribution to Jamaica's endemic musical sound, reggae. And what's more, it was once home to reggae icon Bob Marley. Our next stop, Fort Charles Maritime Museum. This next stop in Port Royal is the old military compound built in the late 1650s by the English to protect the town. It was the only fort in the town that survived the 1692 earthquake. Third stop on our list, Blue and John Crow Mountains National Park. A breath of fresh air. Our national park covers Jamaica's highest points and is home to hiking trails, bird watching, and so much for nature lovers to explore. Fourth on our list, the Syncona Botanical Garden, a nature's paradise in the hills of St. Andrew. Offering visitors a rich view, it is the highest garden of its type in the Caribbean at an altitude of up to 5,500 feet. The garden was named for the Syncona trees planted there, and these trees were used in the production of malaria medication. So, which of these 4 spots piqued your interest? Whichever one it is, be sure to make plans to visit soon.
Every Jamaican has the right to know what is happening in Parliament, to know when new laws are being passed, and to give their opinions on legislation before either house.
Every Jamaican has the right to see their representatives in action, making laws, holding the executive to account, representing the people, working for the benefit of all Jamaicans.
It is your right to observe first-hand meetings of the Senate, meetings of the House of Representatives, and the meetings of parliamentary committees. You may also take a tour of your parliament.
To find out more about the Houses of Parliament, please call 876-922-0200. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, or visit our website at www.japarliament.gov.jm.
Stories unearth the passing down of values and norms and culture as they are carried from one generation to the next. In this next feature, we get to hear the story of the indomitable Jamaican spirit.
We were on our way from an assignment. One of my colleagues saw something happening in the vehicle.
And somehow it was just not moving.
We come down and see the car, like it a rock, and we could glimpse inside.
Brave hearts were the angels of rescue who intercepted the abduction of a teenage girl earlier this year.
We started seeing tossing going back and forth. Then the child's foot came out the vehicle, and that kind of triggered some amount of alarm to us to say, that a student, so what could possibly be happening there. It was obvious from what was happening that she was fighting back.
We all screamed and said, follow him. It's like it was a chorus.
We were chasing him and he was going high speed and we were there. Every turn him turn, we turned with him.
He didn't go at the stoplight, he made a left at the slip road. And that's when I said to the driver, blow, 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 make him see so we see him because we don't want him to elude us. So by the time I said blow him, my hand was already on the horn, honking it non-stop.
By the time we slow down to watch, we see him brake light. Then we see left hand door pull, so I just push her out.
So we took her to the police station, and the door went to the police, the statements were taken, and eventually she was turned over to her parent. It was really a traumatic experience, and I was happy, and we were very happy we were able to save the child.
Their heroic effort did not go unnoticed, as they were selected for the Badge of Honor for Gallantry in the 2022 staging of the National Honors and Awards Ceremony. The ceremony is held annually in honor of the sacrifices and contributions to nation building of Jamaica's 7 national heroes.
For his exemplary bravery in preventing the abduction of a young schoolgirl and for his life-saving action.
Just help when we can help, because I could have my child I go the same way and somebody save him, so I'm that grateful, so I'm happy say somebody grateful say me save for them one,
It feels good. It wasn't something I was expecting. I felt really, really good knowing that I was able to prevent something bad from happening.
It's a good feeling to know that you're being, given some recognition for something I've done. But because the kind of person I am, I like to do my things quietly, because I've been doing a lot of social work, volunteer work.
It does feel elated, to be honest. In the initial point, it wasn't about the award because it was really just about saving a life. And as it is, my mantra is always about a village does raise a child.
So after all this knowledge today, I hope you are ready to explore Jamaica. You can find more content on our website at jis.gov.jm. Let us know your thoughts about the show by sending an email to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. We will be back tomorrow with another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine, packaged just for you. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.